reach out to me too. So I hope you guys are ready to take back your time.
Hello, everybody. Hello to my Ducks in a Row Organizing Life podcast listeners. I am currently recording on YouTube, not on YouTube. I'm not doing a YouTube live. I'm just recording this episode on my phone that I will then later upload to YouTube. And I'm telling you this because there is just some kind of like weird element to that for me. I don't know what it is, but like I do not mind talking when you like can't see me, but for some reason when you can see my face, I'm like, I don't know. I feel weird. I'm the same way on like a Zoom call as opposed to like a regular phone call. Like I'd rather like just talk on the phone. It's so weird. It's not like I sit there and pick my nose or like make weird facial expressions. There's just a different, it's just different. It's just different. And I'm hoping I can get used to it because I have recorded several of these podcasts before. I have filmed them and I've put them on YouTube before. And I really want to get back into that habit, but it's like, for some reason, I'm just like weird about it. I don't know. So, but I know, hey, the more people I can get to hear this, and hear my message and hear what God lays on my heart, the better. So I'm like, I gotta suck it up. I gotta put makeup on Mondays. I mean, I usually participate in Makeup Free Monday. That's not a real thing. That's something I made up. I usually participate in that though, and I'm gonna probably not do that because it already pains me to be filter free here on my phone. So I gotta at least put some makeup on. So anyway, now that that's out of the way and you understand why it might be awkward for the next couple episodes, that's why. Oh my gosh, I crack myself up sometimes. But anyway, so I do want to get into this episode. I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. And what's funny about this episode is that I don't really have like words I'm going to say. I don't have planned. Like I'm literally shooting from the hip. And if you guys have been here for any length of time, you know that is like 90% of my episodes are like usually shooting from the hip. I'll have a topic. Sure. I always have a topic, but like, I don't normally know what I'm going to say to the point where like I have it written down. Now I have things to say about the topic. So I guess that's why I feel like I don't have to write them down because like I already know, like it's already in my head, right? But I don't even know exactly what's in my head about the topic we're talking about today. And I don't know what it is. But I'm going to go with it. And here is why, because I like to let God speak through me. And sometimes when I don't have things planned out, He is able to do that more. Right? Because I'm here. I'm recording. Of course, I can push pause or stop, whatever, and maybe I'll have to, and that's okay. Like I can always do that. But, I'm here and I'm doing it. So I feel like the things that are going to come out of my mouth are going to be kind of flowing from the heart and flowing from what God is placing on my heart. So that excites me. And I hope that's good for you because that's why I'm here. I'm here to serve you, my audience, with everything I usually talk about. And just, it kind of makes me laugh, me saying how like, I don't normally plan what I'm going to say. And sometimes I like to shoot from the hip, and let God speak through me. And it sounds like I hear myself saying it. Okay. And so I'm well aware that it sounds funny coming from somebody who is always so structured and planned and scheduled and like who thrives on that kind of structure and who not only thrives on it herself, but teaches it to other people as a job. So like I'm saying this and like really laughing at myself at the same time because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I get it, but it actually makes perfect sense. And I'm going to tell you why. Because sometimes, you guys, we need to let go and let God. And I know you've heard that before. I know that's like not a new thing. I didn't coin that term, but sometimes you have to let go and let God, and you have got to just be still and be silent, be quiet, be calm, be restful, be in Sabbath, be whatever it might be to hear him speak to you and through you. And so, yes, I've done episodes like this before where I kind of have just spoken from the heart and like kind of let him speak through me. But I never really like talked about how I do that kind of more often than not, probably. And it's a good thing. And something that I am bringing with me into 2023, or something that I'm really going to start trying to establish, is doing more of just that. Of just kind of stepping back, kind of taking, I don't want to say like the back seat of my own car, because that doesn't make sense, but like, you know, maybe the passenger seat, maybe just the co-pilot a little bit. Because really, if you are here and you're a Christian and you're a believer, like God should be driving the ship, you know, driving the plane, driving the car, whatever you want to call it. God should be the one doing that. Anyway, you know, so like maybe we're the co-pilot. Maybe we're in the passenger seat totally, which I sometimes that's not realistic, and that's fine. But we got to let that happen, you guys. And just coming out of December, and December being such a heavy hitter with like practicing Sabbath and like really practicing just mindful rest. I'm like still in that mode, even though it's January. And I know last week we talked about that. And I'm like, you guys, I'm not like feet hit the ground running. What does that mean? Like, why is that what's happening for me? Why is my word for the year surrender? And I think I might have talked about this last week. I'm not sure, but let's take a second and talk about the word of the year really quick. If you haven't done one, or you don't really know like what it might mean, or what it means for me. I don't know. Everybody's different, right? So your word of the year might come to you in a different way. For me, my word of the year comes to me like literally God breathed. Like usually about a week or two before the new year, I will start thinking about the new year, and I'll start thinking about what direction I'm going in, what goals I might have, like whatever. And typically either through a sermon or a devotional or a conversation with a loved one, I will have a word pop into my head. And I'm like, that's it. It truly isn't even like so well thought out that has to that mirrors goals that I have like in my business. Like I've done a word of the year, I think, for 3 years now. And it's never been some kind of like goal oriented word that coincides with goals I have for my business or just my life. Well, I should say it is for my life in general. But like some people, that's their word, you know, it has to do with like their monetary goals or what they're getting after that year in their business or like whatever. But no, truly and honestly, for me, I don't like sit and ponder the word and like come up with it on my own. Like, it is given to me from the Lord, honestly. And I'm not saying that it has to be everybody, right? Like, that's okay if that's not how you get your word. But that's how I get my word. And so this year, my word is surrender. Like, what? Surrender? And it's funny to me because I am not the type to surrender much of anything. I am the type to be in control, y'all. But nevertheless, that's my word. And so it has me thinking, okay, so what is this? What is this looking like? Where am I going with this? What is my mindset? What is my goals? Where is God leading me? And what I am finding over and over again is just that. I'm looking for God to lead me. That's what it is. I'm looking for God to lead me. I am kind of ready to surrender and just be like, Jesus, take the wheel, you know? And I don't mean that in like a weird negative, I've had such a terrible year or things have been so bad and I'm just giving up. Like, it's actually the complete opposite. I mean, there was definitely some major trials in 2022 that made it not the best year, but that's not what it is. it is just recognizing that I can't do it on my own, and I'm kind of sick and tired of trying. I'm sick and tired of thinking that I can do it on my own. And so my mindset here in this year is shifted in a different way. It is relinquishing control. And I want to talk about that today because I want to challenge you to possibly do the same thing. This might not be for everybody, and that's okay. But I want to kind of speak from the heart about my mindset and how, if you do have this same kind of mindset that I'm trying to kind of have here in this year, you may finally find what you're looking for. You may finally actually achieve those goals, maybe even, perhaps. And it's not that I haven't met goals, but like, I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of goals I haven't met in my career, namely. And so that's one of the reasons why, especially in that area, I am really just surrendering. I'm kind of, stepping back and letting God kind of take control of what that's going to look like. And I'm actually very excited about it. And it doesn't mean I don't work the same, or I'm not going to work, or I'm giving up my career, I'm giving up this, but no, it's about shifting my mindset from me having control and surrendering that to the Lord. That's what it means. And it is no coincidence to me that I think it was, probably just a couple nights ago, I was going through my phone and through old photos. The reason was really silly. I had come up with this like color palette that I wanted my like main living area to be. And if you were here last week, you heard me saying how we just remodeled the living room, dining room, kitchen, hallway, foyer, like the kind of the main area of our house. We just remodeled a little, just new paint, new floors, new countertops, like that sort of thing. And I just was sitting here the one day looking around, like, inadvertently, this is entirely my color palette. Like, this is exactly the color palette I created 2 years ago. And it wasn't just for my house. Like, I created the color palette because it's just colors that I love. And it's just colors I wanted to like embrace and just kind of surround myself with because it made me feel happy and comfortable. And it was a color palette I was going to like kind of use on my brand. Not really my house. And I was sitting there like looking at her like, isn't that funny? I did not mean to do that. And as a matter of fact, my sister's the one that completely like helped me with this whole thing. She knows the colors I like. So like, it wasn't a total left field, but anyway, that has nothing to do with what I'm about to tell you. Other than I was in my phone looking for the photo of that color palette. I still didn't find it, you guys, which is super irritating. But while I was rifling through my phone, man, you know what? If you guys want a little exercise in just like some, humbling yourself and also like really recognizing what God has done and also some reminiscing, just go through old photos on your phone because I certainly went down a rabbit hole and I was there for like an hour. Like, oh boy, what have I got myself into? I really had to pull myself out of the rabbit hole, to be honest with you, because I could have really been stuck there for a long time. But anyway, so when I was going through that, I also deleted a bunch of photos too, which is good. Organizing tip. Delete your photos. As I was in there, I found this old video and it was a live that I had done, I think actually on Facebook, which is kind of weird because like that was a long time ago. I'm not even on Facebook, like hardly ever anymore. But I did this live and I obviously saved it to my phone. So it was just saved in my videos. And I was literally saying how I'm feeling right now with the introduction and the start of this new year. I had a light bulb moment. And what's so funny is it was like 3 years ago, but I never really changed it. I never really embraced those feelings. It was like the first time that I felt that way, but I didn't actually like do anything about it, which is so weird. And then you guys, you'll never guess what the date was. So I said it was 3 years ago. So it was 2020. The date that that live was saved was March 2nd, 2020. Do you know what happened exactly 10 days later? The world shut down. The world shut down because of COVID. And so I am watching this video. I literally have chills even just thinking about it right now. I'm watching this video and my mind is just blown. Like, I'm sitting there saying how sometimes you gotta just let things happen. It's okay to go get things and to be a go-getter and get things done and hustle and all of that stuff can be good, right? It can be a good thing, but sometimes you have to just kind of sit back and let things happen. And that is literally the message that I was giving in that video. This is before I had my podcast too. Otherwise, I would have probably made it a podcast episode. And then I looked at the date and I was like, wow, okay, God, I see you. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, the Lord really threw us all into that fire. That wasn't just me and my epiphany moment. And then I went from there, we all got thrown into kind of that isolation and having zero control over everything. We had no control. And I do have to say that it was a struggle for me during COVID. I'm a control freak, if you haven't noticed. And so I didn't like not having control. And I wanted to buck the system and be like, what are we doing? Does this make sense? Can we believe what these people are saying? All of that stuff. That's just naturally me. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, we were all thrown into that. But then as soon as we were crawling our way out of that isolation, I still didn't get that message that I was trying to give of let it go. Let it go, let it go. You know what I'm saying? I still never really fully embraced that notion until now. And I don't know why, and I don't know how, but the message that I want to give you guys about that is think about it. Think about doing it. Think about it. And just consider that maybe that's what's right for you too. Maybe not, I don't know, but there's gotta come a point in time in whatever it is that you are going after. And it could be a relationship. It could be, oh my gosh, it could be a job, it could be a whole career. It could be an entrepreneurial endeavor. It could be seeking, I don't even know. There's so many things it could be. For me, I'm really relinquishing control when it comes to my entrepreneurial endeavor, and how I make money for my family. Okay. That's what I'm relinquishing control over, but it can be any of that. Okay. And as we are entering into this year, kind of instead of okay, what are my goals? What am I getting after? What am I going to do? What are the grandiose plans I have to be some majorly successful person or to win that relationship or win that competition or win this or that or whatever? Maybe instead of that, we take a step back, a deep breath, and especially as believers, we let God take control. And we still do things. We're not just going to sit idly by, but we let him lead the way and we follow in his footsteps. And then we see how far we get. Because if there's one thing that I know, it's that trying to be in control of it all yourself and trying to manipulate every situation to make it work for you and all that stuff is not the answer. It's not the answer, and it's not going to get you any further. So if you do have big goals, big aspirations, big things you want to really get after and go get this year, you might want to consider surrendering a little bit and letting a little of that control go, and you're not going to hear this from this isn't the advice. Let me just make this clear too. This isn't the advice you're going to hear from the big, what do I want to call them? Mindset gurus or big entrepreneurial, people motivational speaker like style at your like work conference. Like this isn't the message you're going to hear. You're going to hear, wake up early, get it done, be out on the field before anybody else is out there. So you got more hours than them. You are in control of your fate. You are in control of how well you do. It all rides on your shoulders. You want this, you got to go get it. You can't let it come to you. You have to get after it. You guys, that is not always the best way of going about things. And I would venture to say it's actually the wrong way of going about getting what you want. And that's gutsy to say, because that's the narrative and that's what people want to live by and live under. But if you're a believer, that is not the way. That is the opposite of the way. And I am a highly motivated person, and I am also motivational, and I really like to motivate you guys, especially you guys, my listeners. I love to motivate you and, get that fire lit under you. And that is wonderful and all good. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to understand that it's not you. It's not what you're doing necessarily. It could be in partial, but it doesn't all ride on your shoulders. And the more we tell ourselves that, the more burnout we're going to get, the more hurt we're going to be when we don't see success, the harder it's just going to be in life in general to have that kind of weight on our shoulders when it shouldn't be us in control anyway. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense to you. And I hope that when it comes to the mindset that you want to embrace here in 2023, that it is one of, I'm here to give it my all, but at the same time, understand that I can't control hardly anything. The only thing I can really control is my reaction to what happens to me. I can do X, Y, and Z. I can, you know what I mean? Like, I can do things, obviously, and I'm gonna do them. But at the end of the day, I don't have control of those outcomes. I only have control over how I react to those outcomes, the next step that I take, right? So I hope as we're going into this year, that is kind of the mindset you can have. And it's not like, okay, what's new for 2023? What am I going to do different? What can I add? What can I do better? What can I blah, blah, blah. Like, it's more like, what can I do to make sure that I'm letting God lead the way? What can I do to make sure my goals are in alignment with His goals or His will for me? What can I do to make sure that my relationships are flourishing with those that I love, and I'm prioritizing that? It's like, what are the bad habits I'm leaving behind in 2022 instead of all of these crazy new goals and new things I want to do in 2023? Again, that's not bad. I'm not saying that's bad. I have new things I'm trying to do this year, right? But instead of focusing so much on that, it's like, what can I leave back there? What can I move forward with that's going to be better for me and for my relationships and for my relationship with God? So I hope that makes sense. Again, total shoot from the hip. So I hope that at the end of the episodes, when I do these like kind of shoot from the hip and really let God speak through me, I'm like, did that make sense at all? Like, honestly, did it? If you are watching this on YouTube, just leave me a comment. Like, yep, it made sense. If it didn't make sense, don't say anything, because I don't want to hear your negative. No, I'm kidding. you can let me know. But anyway, I do pray that it was helpful, and I hope that the beginning of this year so far has been good. And if it was helpful to you, please share. If you think it'd be helpful for somebody please share. I always love that. I always love if you guys leave reviews and everything. It helps my message get out there. And so I thank you once again for being here, as always. And as always, I hope you live your life with passion and gratitude. We'll see you guys next time.